Welcome back to another Trade Alts technical analysis. In this video, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, crazy moves that's been happening over the last, really a couple of weeks now. We've had a really big move to the downside. Kind of lost a key area, to be honest with you, right here. Same, it's right around where our big range value area low, where this level is currently sitting at, but we've lost this level, currently in the process of regaining it. Which is really good news for the bulls, which I'll explain a little bit later. We're just gonna kind of zoom out on the chart here. It's been a wild ride. I mean, obviously, those of you who've been following crypto, I mean, we've had what, 6 or 7 months of straight up. So this move that we've had to the downside, it was due to happen at some point. I mean, if you look here, we've had, and I've went over this in previous videos, but I mean, we've had a 31.5% move to the downside here. We've got another 26.5% move to the downside here. 18.6% move to the downside here. And currently 27.68% move to the downside if this is your current low. So that being said, like, this isn't out of the ordinary. This is very much on par with other pullbacks that we have seen so far on this run up, and like from previous cycles, we've had pullbacks much deeper than even this, and that have ended in, bullish continuation. So as far as I'm concerned right now, am I worried about, us dropping to 20K or anything crazy like that? No, I'm not. But that being said, again, taking out this level right here was kind of important for me. It was kind of a little bit worrisome. And, I'll talk about that here in a few minutes, kind of what I think Bitcoin is going to do. But again, just zooming out, you can see that your daily keygen here has been a phenomenal buy opportunity. It's done a really nice job of catching the low. So you have, three different opportunities to buy the keygen here. And then we come back and you can see that on April 18th here, we just knifed right through it. Ended up closing above, right where your point of control is. And then spent the next few days really just testing, using it as a support. And then finally, after a few days of your keygen holding support, you ended up losing it right here. And this was a really big deal for me as far as levels go. Once I saw this, it was kind of, like further continuation to the downside, not a surprise. Your value area low was actually a little bit higher as well. I think it was, at this point, it was around 52,000, something like that. I think it was 52.3. If I remember correctly, it just actually updated yesterday. So that's why I pulled this new level. Your point of control and your value area high up here didn't change. But the thing that I like about where it's sitting right now, which, by the way, price is currently above it, which is a really good sign for the bulls, to be honest. Like, reclaiming this, this is definitely like the kind of the first step on what you want to see in order for price to move further. But you need to reclaim your value area low here, 51,328.5. That's like a really important level. And what do you know? It lines up almost exactly with your weekly pivot. So we got new weekly pivots today after the weekly candle closed. And this is a very important area for a number of reasons. So if you zoom in and you actually just take a look at the cloud, okay? So basically we had our first close inside a cloud. So we got our move down. Wicks into cloud are totally fine. It's the closes that I'm concerned myself with. And obviously this wick came, knife through the cloud a bit, but closed way up here, kind of where your weekly pivot is currently sitting. And then this close barely closed above cloud. So for instance, this candle closed at 50,115.5. And if I actually pull this up, your cloud was at $50,000, or it was at $50,082.5. So again, this candle right here closed above cloud by $30. So the cloud, big support level, right? And then what happens? Yesterday here, we actually moved into the cloud, and you can see if I zoom in a bit, wicked up to touch the very top of cloud, rejected from there, and ended up closing down here at what, 49,000. So like, this was a bit worrisome, because obviously, like, anytime you close inside a cloud, the thing is, the cloud is still very much bullish. It's nowhere near turning bearish. You have, your Tenkin as still bullishly crossed above your Kijun. So this is really like, all this tells me is essentially that I'm neutral. With price being here where it is, I'm definitely a lot more neutral than I am bullish or bearish. But losing this area over here, again, like, am I bearish thinking that all of a sudden, oh my goodness, like, we're going to 20K again, and we're, the bull market's over and all that? Absolutely not. All that this tells me, or kind of gives me a feeling of, is that we're going to end up going into a consolidation, really. Like, we're going to play out some sideways before Bitcoin decides what it's going to do, which to me, honestly, at this stage right now, I still definitely macro bullish, on high time frames. Like, I am macro bullish still. Not that hasn't changed at all. But as far as like a medium term time frame, I definitely think we could have weeks to maybe even a few months of sideways before we, push to revisit some new all-time highs. It wouldn't surprise me. And kind of the cloud here tells a bit of the story about kind of what I would be, I don't want to say expecting, but kind of what I think could possibly happen. So now I'm going to go into, so I kind of talked about price, where it sits. Obviously today we're pushing outside of cloud. A closure above cloud would be amazing. A closure above weekly pivot would be awesome, because that means that we're very likely closing back inside of the value area, which to me, again, I would be looking for, a bit more upside. So that's kind of like, as far as when I'm looking at price on a very low term time frame right now, I lean up. So my bias is definitely, a bit more up. Doesn't mean that we can't come back down, to 51K. And again, so the cloud is sitting at, no, I'm going to pull this back down. So 50,650, basically, that's a very important level. So that's literally where the cloud is right now. So 50,650 today, that's kind of like the lowest that I would want to see today close. But really, I would prefer a closure above, this pivot, value area low. That would be pretty awesome. But we'll have to kind of see how that comes, how that plays out, because we're 5.5 hours into the day. There's still a lot of things that are going to happen. Obviously, stocks gonna open up. We're gonna have to. There's a lot that we kind of have to fight through today to see where we end up. But so far, it looks good. And again, this was a very significant move to the downside. It was just down, 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 down. So a little bit of a relief bounce here wouldn't surprise me. So kind of like what levels am I looking at? Well, your Kijun, which is sitting here, I should just leave this down. Your Kijun sitting at 54,000, almost exactly. So this is kind of like the first area of interest for me, is 54,000. I know that there is a naked point of control sitting around, I think, 53,500 from a few days ago. So it'd be nice if we came back up and cleaned that up. But again, 54,000 is a really important level. But kind of in a zone that I'm going to be paying really close attention to over the next few days is really going to be around this R1 weekly pivot. There is a lot of activity, a lot of confluences around here that's telling me that this is actually going to be a pretty significant resistance. So the one thing that I do like to do, and by the way, this yellow box, just about any time you see this yellow box on my charts, it's going to be where the golden pocket is. So this is actually the bearish retracement. I'll pull it for you so you can see. You can make a tiny adjustment here, but this is a golden pocket. So this is always a really critical level. And the fact that it lines up right with monthly open is a pretty big deal to me. That's really, really critical level for bulls. If we do manage to push up there, I think there's going to be a lot of resistance. And I think a lot of people are going to, I think a lot of people are going to be eyeing that area personally. We'll get to that in a second though. But I'll tell you one thing that I really like. So again, I pulled this bearish fib retracement, and look at where everything lines up. Everything has a place, and this is rare for this to line up like this well. Okay, so first I'll start at the bottom. So you have, I'll try to zoom in, that way you can see things hopefully a little bit better. But your 236 lines up exactly with your weekly pivot and your big range value area low. So this is a really nice confluence. You have your 382, which is lining up almost exactly with where your daily Kijun is right now. So that's going to be pretty, that's going to be resistance to the upside. Your zero point 0.5 fib is lining up exactly with your daily Tenkin, which isn't a surprise. But and also where your big range point of control is. This is a massive level right here. So this point of control is an absolutely massive level. And then I know from looking previously, the 21 EMA is also lined up right around where this pivot is. So there is a lot of potential resistance in this zone. So kind of what I like to do when I find these zones where there's, where I expect there's going to be, and before I do this, I'm going to actually delete this. If you look into the forecaster here, which are these dots, and these are kind of forecasting where your Kijun and your Tenkin are going to be over the next week or so, right? Because each dot is 1 day. If you look what's going to happen in about 3 to 4 days right here, right now they're looking like they're going to bearishly cross. So that's something to pay attention to, over the next 3 to 4 days to kind of see what happens there. And kind of the interesting thing is look at where they're scheduled, look around where they're going to cross. If they do, is the R1 pivot, right? So like this is going to be a really interesting level to pay attention to over the, for this week. So this zone right here, this zone, if I can get this, is a very big resistance in my opinion. It's going to be really difficult, I think, for Bitcoin to push above this point of control. So you have your resistances above. So if you're going to mark these down in your chart, feel free. Again, hopefully since price is above, you'd like to see this level held as support. Again, your 236, your weekly pivot, big range value area low. This is around $51,300. Let's just say this is kind of an area I'd really like to see held. To the upside, you have your 382 daily Kijun around 53,875, something like that, right? It's about where it is, $54,000. Let's just say this zone right here, 0.5 fib, or your daily Tenkin, big range point of control, your 21 EMA, all of that is coming into action right here in this red box. So again, this is a very important area. If bulls are able to reclaim the point of control, that's going to be a pretty big deal in my opinion. And I think you'll see a lot of things really, like you'll see, already it's kind of funny, right? So if you go and look at everybody's posts from the last couple of days, and I don't even need to talk about Twitter or anything else, it's literally in Discord. If you go into Discord, you go into Telegram, you see how the moods shift, right? Like over the last really 3 or 4 days or so, there's really bearish sentiment. Everybody's worried about trading bots, et cetera, like, which I understand that, believe me, like this isn't bullish price action by any means. Okay. Like I totally understand like people saying, people worried about, you're seeing like, oh, the bear market's here, like good game bulls, it's over now, like the people got really, really bearish here. So what happens again, you have weekly open, right? As soon as weekly open happens, you get this big spike up. Ethereum's on a rampage. Last I checked, I mean, Ethereum's just absolutely crushing it. Again, you see people get incredibly bearish at the lows, right? So what happens a lot of times, boom, you get this spike up. Now we're on we short squeezed really nicely up, I think $5,700, like I said. Really like, kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if this just continues to push, because like a lot of people, again, really bearish, you get your spike up, liquidate some shorts, and kind of the thing is like people will keep piling in on shorts, right? Like that's kind of what happens a lot of time when you're trading Bitcoin. You'll get a lot of people that are keep trying to short this, and like we really could continue to push higher all the way up to this point of control. It wouldn't surprise me. But this is a really massive resistance right now. So again, this is kind of a zone that I'm eyeballing. If we manage to reclaim this point of control, then naturally I look up to the value area high. But that's really, that's up at 61K. That's way up there, right? I think that there are some really critical levels beforehand, which we get to the golden pocket, your monthly open, which by the way, we're getting a new, we have, this is the last week of the month. So we'll see kind of how things end up closing, but we have monthly open and your golden pocket. That's a massive area right there. Your weekly at 60,000. And then finally your value area high, which is kind of like that. This is the high end of the range, right? So if we come up here, it's usually a really good opportunity to kind of look for, this is a really good opportunity typically to take profits if you're long, which I'm actually long right here. But, am I targeting 61,000? No, that's really far off. I mean, geez, if we got up there, I wouldn't complain about it, but really, this is kind of where I'm on. And I think that this is a really big candidate to get a push up into before we potentially roll over again. And again, you see your daily Kijun, your daily Tenkan here. We're kind of scheduled. I don't want to say scheduled, but this is kind of where we're looking to cross, right? So it'll be interesting to see where price is in relation to the Tenkan and the Kijun once we do get to this area. That's kind of what I'm going to be paying attention to. It's too early to tell, but one thing that I think could happen, this might be a little too easy though, to be honest with you. This might be a little easy, is that we get a push up into the point of control, get rejection, and then start working our way back down. So like kind of my game plan for this, again, this isn't financial advice or anything, just kind of what I am looking to potentially play is a rejection of this area followed by a bearish TK cross. And if price manages to work its way back into cloud and close inside a cloud, you have your bearish TK cross. Chiku span's very likely going to be underpriced. And again, if you get your close back inside a cloud, kind of like you had here, right? This is a closure inside a cloud. The thing about this close is that there's nothing else telling you to take this short. Like you're still bullishly crossed with your Tenkan and your Kijun. Your cloud's very much bullish. Chiku span was underpriced, but you didn't have all of the indicators that you would want to see, all of the indications that you would want to see in order to take this short. That's why you wouldn't have taken that. But again, regardless of kind of what price does here over the next few days, if we do end up getting this bearish TK cross, price closes inside a cloud, I'm looking for the opposite edge. So that is going to be something that I will be paying very close attention to. I think this area is a decent candidate, honestly, to come in and put a lower high, and like maybe this is kind of wishful thinking, but I'll kind of draw it out for you. We kind of work our way back up here and then maybe, get a closure inside a cloud, get your bearish TK cross like it's looking like it's going to do. And then this is a really, from an Ichimoku perspective, this is really where you would take your short entry. I would prefer to be looking in this area. I want to see reasons up here for me to take a short entry. I'd rather, who wouldn't want a short here versus short here, right? But at the end of the day, like this is a legitimate short entry. It might not be the perfect short entry, but as far as Ichimoku goes, this is what you would be looking for. And then you would take it down, depending where it is. You could be anywhere from 40K to, 43K, which I kind of like 43K quite a bit, to be honest with you. But this is kind of jumping ahead. So I really don't like to do that. But it's just to kind of give you a game plan of kind of what I could be looking to have happen over the next week or so. Now, if we don't reject here, or we don't get a strong rejection here, or hell, we just push right through the point of control. Like this is Bitcoin, anything can happen. I do think that this golden pocket, like basically this general area, anywhere from 58 to 60,000, I think that's like incredibly high probability of a turnaround there. Because again, it's kind of like I mentioned, we took out this low here, right? We got to close inside a cloud. Now, again, it doesn't mean anything on its own, but kind of what that tells me is like it's a change of behavior. You go back, we haven't had that. Like this is just telling me that as far as the trend goes, that things are slowing down. It's not telling me like it's not, this in itself isn't like uber bearish or anything like that, but it's just telling me that the trend is slowing. And that I think, this is kind of giving me an indication that we could be spending some time in this area. Which I do think is highly, that's kind of what I'm leaning towards happening right now. But again, I do think that we come in and put a lower high. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't think that this is the low, to be honest. I would be very surprised if this was the low. I'd be pretty shocked actually. So I will tell you that, like, if, you know, as price manages to work its way back up, you know, you kind of look at the range overall, and, you know, where I'm pulling this, the big range levels from, I'll just show you real quick. So it's you just take your fixed range, and it's from here. So you see your point of control, value area low, value area high. Okay, so this is like the when I'm talking about the big range value areas, this is the overall pool that I'm using. But you see price kind of making its way back above the value area low. Another pool that I would be really interested in is actually from here, and just focusing on this price action, right? So just this price action that I'm kind of circling around. And what do you see that's interesting? Well, to me, your value area low is actually sitting here at 54,500. So you can see it's kind of right in this zone. Again, there's kind of a lot going on right here, right? But more importantly, and probably the thing that I'm trying to point out, is that your point of control for this range, right? Which this encompasses basically, you know, like this is a very legitimate range for sure. In fact, if I were to look at this from this perspective, all this really is just a deviation. And now price is gaining acceptance back into this range, you know, just about. I mean, technically it's all the way up here at 54,000. But like, kind of how, when I'm just looking visually at this, I think that this is a very valid pull for this piece of price action as well. And your point of control for this is sitting right here by your monthly open in your golden pocket. So like this is another form of confluence that tells me that this level, so you have your monthly open, you have your golden pocket, which is always going to be like a heavily, you know, that to me is a really big form of confluence. If you have a golden pocket lining up with another indicator, another level, whatever it is, that to me is, that adds a lot of strength to that argument of this being an important level. And then obviously you take the fixed range from this piece of price action, you know, starting here on March 14th or so, your point of control lines up right in it. So that tells me like this is going to be a really tough level for bulls to reclaim as well. So that being said, you know, I've given you the support. I've given you what I think is going to be really tough resistances. So you have this section here, you have this, you know, your monthly open, golden pocket, point of control, starting from March 14th, so on and so forth. And then obviously your weekly level and ultimately your value area high. For me to get like, you know, I do think that we're going to come up here. You know, I can't tell you, I've given you my reasonings why I think these specific levels are important. Where does price end up going up to? I have no idea. Does price even make it up here? I have no idea, to be honest with you. My gut tells me it will. You know, my gut tells me that I think we have, like, it wouldn't surprise me to get, you know, another push back up to this levels. But really, like, and also equally important, your support level right here is very critical. So your value area low, your new weekly pivot, and obviously your cloud. You have 3 to 4 days here before things get really interesting to me, because I kind of want to see where price is when and if this does actually cross, because that's going to tell me quite a bit. That's going to tell me a lot. The last thing that I'm going to say, which I don't want to confuse everybody, but I've kind of given you like the bullish scenario, right? And by bullish, I mean like where we could bounce up to. Bearish scenarios, obviously, like losing, you know, if we close back into cloud, this flips bearish, then we got problems. You know, and I don't want to say problems, but like we're very likely going to see some downside if we get a bearish TK cross here and prices close inside a cloud. Like I will be looking much further to the downside at that point. But another thing that I'm going to be paying really close attention to, and this is kind of giving me like the inkling that, you know, this is kind of setting itself up for, if you do get a bearish TK cross, but then at a later point it recrosses bullish and price is above, that's a sign to get incredibly long. Like that's what I've said in several videos before. And really, from a, like, I'll show you this on a 12-hour chart, so because this has more iterations of it by far, and like this is bearish, by the way. So like from a 12-hour standpoint, this is bearish. And kind of interesting. I'm kind of glad I look at this. But if you look at the 12-hour chart, all you did was come right back up to the cloud. So you're right now, cloud is resistance. So that's actually really interesting. I'm glad I came to the 12-hour chart. So this level, if I drop this down, the cloud is sitting at 52,508. So 52,508 is your 12-hour bottom of the cloud. You can see you're finding, like, you're literally finding resistance right here. You want to see a closure back inside, but then you have your bearish TK cross. So likely, 54, wherever your Tenkin, your Kijun is. And so look at this. So your 12-hour Kijun is sitting right in this red box. So that's another, that's another indication, tells me that this is likely to be strong resistance, because price pushed far away. You actually close outside a cloud. If you manage to come back up and retest this Kijun, that's a lot of times is like a nice short opportunity as well, because how bearish everything is right now. Now, again, your cloud is still bullish. It's thinning out. You see the angulation here. It's looking like it's going to flip bearish though. So that's another thing that we have to pay attention to, because I do put quite a bit of weight on the 12-hour chart. So if this goes bearish, this is already bearish. If your cloud flips bearish and price is closing outside a cloud, like below cloud, then that's a problem. Like that's full on bullish, full on bearish. And again, we're not quite there yet, but this is something to pay attention to for sure. So like, just, for those of you who are, anybody who's interested in trading 12-hour chart, that's how it goes. But now back to kind of what I was saying. And again, I went over this in a previous video, but still, this is like really good to get you to understand what I'm talking about when it comes to bullish TK recrosses above cloud. And by the way, I already have a trend. For those of you who are asking me, by the way, I do have a few of the Ichimoku modules that are shot, that are ready to upload. But I've kind of, not that I put that on the back burner. I'm still working on the the later videos, and I'm kind of deciding like when and how I'm going to distribute those. Just so you know, like I might do it soon. I might wait till the whole module is done. I'm not quite sure yet. But there is one that's out that I did quite a while ago, where I go over this setup in particular. It's actually like when you get the bullish recrosses above cloud. Like I've already went over that, and it's its own standalone video, so you can find that in my modules, on my YouTube channel, if you're interested. So anyway, you can see right here, so this is back in January, February, on the 12-hour chart, you got a bearish TK cross. Okay, let me zoom in for you. So you got your bearish cross right here. Price actually did what it should do, and it basically came to the opposite end of the cloud before getting a nice bounce. And then what happened? Well, price kind of went sideways to up, and you get your bullish TK recross above cloud. So again, bullish Tenkin recross above your Kijun, above cloud, and look what happens. Big move to the upside, which I actually caught this move. I was pretty happy about that. I think this is literally when I was doing the video, or maybe it was here. No, it was this one. So I have mentioned this in that module video. So go find it. But this was the one that I took as well. So it's same story, right? You get your bullish TK recross above cloud, big move to the upside. You come back down to your 12-hour Kijun. You kind of chop around a bit, and what happens? You get another same bearish TK recross, and then a bullish TK recross right above cloud here for another big move to the upside. So this is the one that I talked about in the video. And then boom, you get your, now we're bearishly crossed here. But again, this is what I'm talking about though. So if you go back to the daily, you can see we're I want to say scheduled, but like we're possibly going to have a bearish TK cross over the next few days. So that's kind of the last thing that I'm going to talk about, is if you do get the bearish cross and then you get a recross above cloud, that's a very big signal for me anyway to take it to the long side. And if I did see this play out that way, I don't want to put odds on what I think is, if that's going to happen or not, but I'll definitely be watching. But if I see that, I think that would be enough for me to say all-time highs again. which so that's kind of like the catalyst, I think, for myself, that I would say, hey, like this is probably, you know, this could have been one big fake out to the downside, whatever it is, right? Like who knows? It's super early to tell. I shouldn't even be talking about that right now because I don't like to do that. But that is like, I just want to share with you guys and be transparent about what I am looking for to, you know, to come over the next several weeks, like kind of like what, you know, what I'm going to be preparing myself to trade essentially. So that's basically all I have. The purpose, you know, again, I did a Discord only and a Discord and Telegram only video update 2 days ago. And I hope that you guys found that useful. I talked about, you know, kind of Bitcoin and what it, you know, there was a lot of bearishness going on. And I was kind of like, don't panic, you know, like this is a really extended move. Oh, another thing that I want to point out is this, which I shared this in Discord earlier today. For those of you who happen to pay attention to TD sequential, this is really interesting too. So you had a 9 candle up here back in March, nice top candle, got a really nice pullback off of that. Look at this. This is pretty interesting. I'm going to delete this because my white circle here kind of messes it up. But where are we reversing off of? A 9 candle. Really interesting, honestly. I'm not like a big, like I look at sequential is one of those, I would say it's like one of the last things that I look at as far as, you know, when I'm looking for confluences and stuff. Like I'll take a look at sequential just to kind of see like what's going on. But I do think like this is really nice confluence for this being a local bottom. Like I think this is going to be a bottom temporarily. And, you know, like this is another confluence that's telling me to say, hey, like this could be, you know, we could get a few days of relief essentially before, you know, who knows, maybe again we get another move to the downside, we consolidate some more, whatever it is. But this is another thing saying, hey, like this is probably a really nice bottoming candle for the time being. So, you know, looking for the upside, it's not such a dumb idea. Okay, so that's just another thing that I thought was interesting that I would share with you. But anyways, I just wanted to pop on, share with you kind of my thoughts on Bitcoin. I'm not, you know, as far as from a macro perspective, I'm still very much bullish on Bitcoin. I'm still looking for new all-time highs. I think we still have quite a ways to go, to be honest with you. Like I think we got a ways to go in this bull market. But if, you know, if we spend a few months consolidating, whatever it is, it wouldn't bother me. I love to trade ranges and it kind of is what it is, right? We've had a crazy 6 months to the upside. It just wouldn't be surprising to put in some time, you know, to put in some consolidation, kind of like rebuild a foundation essentially before another push to the upside. Like that's essentially kind of what I'm thinking right now. Now, what would get me to flip bearish is, you know, it's really simple. Like honestly, on the daily time frame, would probably be good enough for me. If you do get the cloud to flip bearish, you know, if you get a bearish TK cross, cloud flips bearish, whenever that is, that's going to likely be a pretty big sign that, you know, at least that first initial step is like, okay, like we're bearish on the daily, you know, as far as Ichimoku goes, and to be careful, you know, so that's kind of like what I'm looking for. But anyway, I gave you all of the levels, why I thought they were important, all of the confluences for every level, both on the support side and on the resistance side. I do think bulls have a significant amount of work to do. I'm not like insanely bullish here by any means. I'm still, you know, even with this price action you're seeing right here, I'm not like overly excited about it because to me, like relief bounces are expected. Like that's one thing. Like you're rarely going to see something just die. You know, it's not just going to just go straight down. Like you're going to have these relief pops and they're going to be good. Like you're going to get some good short squeezes in. So like this price action isn't very surprising. I think what will catch a lot of people off guard though, and I'm kind of hoping for, is if we are able to push up to this range point of control, and ideally I'd really like us to push all the way up here. If we can push up to 58 to 60k, imagine how bullish everybody's going to be. We get up to 60k again, 58k, people are going to say, oh, here it is, we're going to the moon again, everybody's going to be happy. You're going to look in Discord, you're going to look in CT, you know, crypto Twitter, you're going to look everywhere you look and everybody's be getting all excited, right? The thing I'll say is that seeing what has happened here, and like I explained earlier in the video and the video the other day, it's making me cautious. It's making me a bit more reserved about kind of like, you know, I have to temper my expectations for what I see. And that being said, I would love a push up to 58 to 60k, because I think it's going to really trap a lot of people, to be honest. I think that a pullback from up here just makes a lot of sense. And like, we just continue to range. That would be awesome. I would love that, to be able just to continue to trade a range, because honestly, ranges, a lot of people, they just get chopped up big time. You know, it would really wreck a lot of people if that happened. And not that I don't wish for people to get wrecked, obviously, but like, the market's going to do what it's going to do. And I'm just going to say, like, I do think if we manage to work our way back up to this level, I think like the risk reward for a short, at least getting hedged up here, I think it makes a lot of sense, to be honest. So that's kind of initially what I'm looking for. Now, if we do make it all the way up here and we still look really strong, hell no, I'm not shorting. Like, who knows? Like, who knows what could happen? But, you know, like, I don't know, say if there's some news that came out or whatever, who knows, right? But like, this is just an area. So this red zone right here, the golden pocket, monthly open, you know, your point of control from March 14th, blah, blah, blah. Like, these are a lot of reasons to be careful, and a lot of reasons, honestly, to look for a counter trade if you do get up here. But that would never, like, this is something that I want to be in front of my computer. I want to be monitoring in real time to see kind of what's happening, right? Because like, you want to look at everything before you just preset stuff up here. And then, you know, you wake up and Bitcoin's, you know, new all-time high for whatever reason, and you're wrecked, right? Like, so anyway, just wanted to give everybody the levels. Hope you found this video useful. Kind of spent a lot of time on Bitcoin, obviously, but it's important to me because of everything that's kind of happened, right? We've had a lot of moves to the downside. I've seen a ton of people getting really, really bearish in Discord. So like, I just wanted to take a second to remind everybody that like, we're not just going to be straight down, right? And I'm not saying that I called today's pop or anything like that. It was really simple. Like, if you go, this is the same thing I'm going to kind of leave this video with. And I read this when I did the Discord and Telegram only video that I posted 2 days ago. I just want to share it with everybody else here, because if you're in trading bots, like, I'm sure that like a lot of you are probably like panicking because of like the safety orders that you were in. And like somebody asked, you know, seems like no matter what days it is, like no matter how, you know, how bad everything looks, your bots are always working. And the thing that I want to say is that I don't do anything different than what I share in my videos. I really mean that. I don't do anything different. The thing that was going to screw a lot of people up is they play with their bots too much. So like, for those of you who are this deep in the video, congratulations. Leave a comment and tell me in the comments if you actually made it this far, because I think majority of the people are going to have dropped off by now. So if I'm going to I will spend a minute here just to kind of give you some, I don't want to say tips, but like talk to you about your bots for a little bit. Because if you made it this far in the video, you deserve it. So that being said, like, I don't ever mess with my bots. I don't care what the market does. I just let the bots do their job. So I'm literally telling you right here. The thing is, again, with markets, when you look at moves that are really extended to the downside like we had, I know a relief bounce is coming at some point. Now, where that comes, I don't know. Hell, we could have dropped another 20% before we got some kind of bounce. But I know I can say with pretty good confidence that it's coming at some point, right? And like, I can look at my charts and like, I myself can look and say, you know what, like, we have some support around this area. Like, I think we're going to be okay, right? But a lot of people, they don't know, or, you know, if you don't have a lot of experience trading or whatever it is, like, you're kind of not sure, right? But the thing I will say is I do not mess with my bots. When I set them, I set them with the settings that I've come up with, and I leave them alone, because that's what I've learned during like my almost year now of using the bots, is that you leave them alone, you let them do their job, and you let things play out. And I will tell you one thing that is important to me, and people, I get this question a lot still. I don't trade anything I don't like. So I think that's really important for everybody to understand. And it's not only for me, it's for you as well. Like, when you're like, why are you in this crypto market? So that's the thing that you have to ask yourself. Are you here to just make more USD? Are you here to make more Bitcoin? Are you here to make Ethereum? Are you here to build your altcoin portfolio? Because that's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm with my trading bots. I am literally using them as a mechanism to further continue to build my altcoin holdings. It's really that simple. So like, that's why I'm in it. But you have to ask yourself, why are you in it? right? Because that's going to shape your decisions. That's going to shape kind of like what you're going to do and how you're going to set your trading bots up. But that being said, a piece of advice, when you set your bots up, leave them be and let them do what they're going to do. Because that's, and honestly, like, if you're using the settings that I've shared, that's what they're meant for, right? Now, if you're using trading bots and you have 3 safety orders that cover you, you're good for 15%, whatever it is, right? Like, and you have your own strategy, then you got to pay close attention, make sure that you're checking on your bots and you're seeing how they're doing. But for those of you who are using my settings or something very similar to my settings, the thing that I will say is leave them alone, because you'll often find out, and like, I don't want to, not that I want to do this, I don't know if I should do this, but this is a really, like, so like somebody, you know, mentioned me just before I started the video, and like, it's almost crazy. I regret turning my bots off yesterday expecting to crash. Sorry, trade alts, I didn't listen to your advice. And like, the thing I want to say, which I didn't even get a reply, so I'm going to reply to this person when I'm done with the video, but like, the thing that I'm going to say about that is, like, you know, again, understand why you're doing what you're doing. Understand like what it is that you're trying to achieve using the trading bots, right? And like, again, if you're using my settings, I'm very transparent, and I've said it many times, like, don't touch them, you know, like, just let the market do its job. And like, that's all you can do. And I know it's hard, because when people, you know, if you have 30 safety orders and you're 20 deep, 25 safety orders deep, you're panicking. Like, I get that. You know what I mean? But like, the only thing that you can do, and again, the settings are the way that they are, is just be patient. So if you go back to my, it's probably gone now. I'm gonna have to try to, no, that's not what I wanted. Here we go. Which, by the way, I will go over this too. So back to this. So again, volatility is the name of the game. Like, this is literally what we wait for, right? You want your bots to get deep in active deals, or in you know, deep in safety orders. Obviously, like, you don't want them sitting there for a long time though. That's not good. But like, you want bots eating up your safety orders and getting out, right? That's how you make money. But this last sentence here is something that I want to leave everybody with. Patience is the key though. Let them do their job. So if you let your bots do your job, you look here, I made 40, and this was what? Yeah, this was 2 days ago. So like, this isn't even relevant now, but I mean, you know, at that time, I made $4,200 profit in the last week for literally doing nothing. And like, for those of you who follow me with my trading bots, I almost never touch them. It's just very much passive, right? Like, I set them, I forget them, and I move on. I do other things. I took yesterday off. I didn't even look at the charts yesterday, pretty much. Spent the entire day with my family. It was amazing. But like, I made money for doing nothing, right? That's the purpose of trading bots. That's the purpose of the video, like why I wanted to share it with everybody. But like, really, it's the hardest part for new people, for new traders, especially for anybody using trading bots, is having the patience necessary to let your bots do their thing. So that's what I'll leave you with. Just be patient, let them do their thing. If you're deep in safety orders, take a day off. Like, it's not going to help you sitting in front of your screen or looking at your phone, refreshing your phone every 5 seconds, like I like to do. Okay. Like, when I'm like, when I'm sitting here, you know, I'll have my 3 commas platform open while I'm doing my other trading. And every half an hour, I'll click the my deals button to refresh my thing, just to see what's going on. Now, again, I don't make any changes, but like, I just like to watch and see what's going on with the bots, right? I'm sure everybody does that. But that being said, if you're deep in safety orders and you're panicking, just step away. Again, that's not going to help you, like, sitting there stressed out, looking at your bots, like, oh my goodness, like, they're so deep in orders. What do I do? Because if you had done that, then we have a day like we've had today. And like, for me, you know, I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but like, for me, I cleared a lot of the bots over the last 2 days, made a lot of money, like made good money. And like, everything is like, you know, I still have a few bots that are kind of deeper in safety orders, but I'm not worried about them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm hanging out, so it's not a big deal. But anyway, that being said, I just wanted to talk about, for those of you who are in trading bots, I just kind of wanted to talk to you a little bit about them, talk to you about like kind of my perspective again. And you can see like, so again, that same day, 23rd, Friday, April 23rd, Friday, April 23rd, made $764 for doing nothing. Just hanging out, not a big deal. And then earlier today, so I was kind of posting this. So today, well, this is at weekly close, at daily close, made $425. Everything's looking pretty good. And then boom, we had that, $5,700 move up on Bitcoin, and everything started to clear. So I was kind of posting. So like if you go here, I was, first 30 minutes of the day, already made it $85. Things are starting to clear up. And then what is this? An hour and 20 minutes later, I'm at $194. And look at my active deals reserve. So like it's already a lot lower, right? Still closing. And here we are, 271. And this is 5 hours into the day. So I'm literally posting this 5 hours after daily close. $271 already for doing nothing. Active deals reserve came all the way down to 1344. So I still have a few bots that are deeper in safety orders, but the majority of my bots are already back to work. And look at my total profit, almost $65,000 so far. So anyway, final thoughts, be patient, set your bots. If you're using any settings that are similar to what I'm doing, or for those, I know a lot of people are actually using the same settings as I am. Be patient, let the market do what it's going to do, and just have fun. Like that's all I can say. It's like, just have fun. If you want to come chat in Discord, come chat in Discord, tell everybody how you're doing. But when it gets to the point where things get really worrisome, just have patience. And if you have patience, a lot of times things will be, things kind of have a way of working themselves out. So that being said, I want to wish everybody great night. Hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. Trade safe out there.